Alright, so I got majority of the engine cleaned up, and I'm getting ready to start checking the line, or not the line clearance, the clearance of the bearings. So one of the things that you guys want to make sure you're watching out for is once you set the bearings into the block, well, first of all, clean up everything. There's little notches towards the end of the oiling cavities. Make sure you clean those out with a pick. Set your bearings in. Do not oil. Just clean everything really good. Obviously, you don't want to spin the crank. I went ahead and placed the crank up where there's no oiling cavities up at the top. That's where I'm going to place my plastic gauge. And then when I placed the bearings in the caps, I want to show you guys this because it may confuse some people, and it may not. But you have 5 main caps, and you have 2 that have 2 dimples. So see how this one here has a dimple? I'm sorry, doesn't have a dimple, has a dimple, has a dimple, doesn't have a dimple, has a dimple, doesn't. And then this one has 2. So if you turn your main caps over, you'll have a number on them. All of them are numbered. And I went over this when I was taking apart the engine, but you have 1 and 5. 1 and 5 are your main caps that are at the end, or on the at the ends of the engine. So they can be interchangeable, but the ears have to be facing into the engine, and then the rest of these guys face towards the back of the engine. So these little things face towards the back of the engine. To make sure you have it right, this should face inwards, this should face inwards. However, this tang should be opposite of this one here. So when placing 5 here, this is the back of the, sorry, I'm placing 5 here, the ear should be facing that way, and you have your one tang there. The other one should be pressing up against this side over here. They should not be on the same side. And then this guy should be pointing this way, the ear should be pointing this way, and your one tang is there, the other one should be here. Same thing here, same thing here. When you get here, you have a tang on this side, ears facing this way, tangs on this side. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start fitting the studs on. I'm going to go ahead and put the plastic gauge on, and then torque down and check clearance. So never a boring moment here in the garage. I went ahead and placed a plastic gauge in onto the crank, and let me show you guys what happened. So put the main caps on, and for an iron block running 5W30, you're looking for like 22 to 27 10,000ths of an inch. So basically what we're looking for is a little bit smaller than this red guy, and a little bit smaller than this red guy, a little bit bigger than this white guy. All right, so I don't know if my camera will zoom in, but basically this is 20 10,000ths and this is 30 10,000ths, so somewhere in between there. So went ahead, performed the torque sequence on the main caps, and look at this. It's not even 60 10,000ths of an inch, so quite a bit of space there. So I thought that maybe since I used the assembly lube, that maybe that had a effect on the torquing of the ARP studs. That's not what happened. I went ahead and used their little assembly lube here and retorqued everything, inside bolts or studs to 60 foot-pounds, 3 different passes, outside to 50, and still got the same result. So I went back and looked at the bearings that I ordered, which these bearings were actually ordered as part of my 408 stroker build that I have for the Corvette, which if you watched some of Corvette videos, you saw that I started working on that block. But anyway, I ordered those for that block and I never used them. I found out that I actually ordered the wrong ones, so they were 10,000ths over, so slightly larger. So I had to go and pick up new bearings. These are the Federal Mogul sealed power. I prefer maybe like King bearings, and even Cleveite, but fortunately this is what I can get my hands on for right now because I gotta put the engine back together. These are bimetal, so they should be good for street use. They should be good for what I'm looking for here. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the crank a little bit from all these little plastic gauges, and I'm gonna pull the crank, put new bearings in, and reperform this whole process, and hopefully after that we'll be good. So would you believe that I actually figured out what the issue is after going through 2 sets of main bearings? It dawned on me that, well, when you look at this crank here, it looks very, very shiny. Then when you look at a crank that I had sitting around, this is after I cleaned it up, not nearly as shiny. So my thoughts were, well, what if during all the block work that they've done since they already bore the block out, the LS2 block, is it possible they did something to the crank? So went ahead and threw this LQ4 crank in, and wouldn't you know it, we have some good readings. Well, hopefully they're good. We'll see here. So when you look, it's a little on the tighter side here. Just over 20,000ths, which I think is all right. Same here. Or at least it looks like it. I'm trying to get this thing lined up here. Right at 20,000ths, if not a little bit more.